everybody, it's Dana Brigman with oils for your dogs and their people. One day I'll tell you about how I named it Essential Believer and why that is the domain name that we have for the website. But this is really about me taking something that grew out of my dog training business and making it more not just the training, but to try and address all things wellness for the dog, right? So it's for me, when I'm thinking about doing dog training, it's not just a bunch of commands. It's what is the whole picture of that dog, and that includes their nutrition, their wellness, support for their bodies, and that then evolved into, well, if it's working for them in great ways, what will it do for me? And so I know many people start with how can I benefit people and their loved ones and their children, that kind of thing. And then they think about the dogs as an afterthought. Some people don't even realize that you can use essential oils for their dogs. For me, the dogs were first. And maybe at some point I'll learn more about other animals. Certainly thinking about cats, because many people who have dogs have cats and birds and that sort of thing, but they are not my area of expertise today. So if that's something beyond the dogs in the animal world that you need help with, I can help get you in touch with the right people to guide you down that path. Today, I really wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about a post that I made earlier, which was really just a graphic that said, don't wait until you're desperate to try and get some help. I see this happening a lot where people reach a point where they're like, they've received some bad news about their dog and they're like, I'll try anything. I'll try anything that may help give them some comfort, some longevity, anything that would provide support to their animals. And I'm encouraging you not to wait for those things. Certainly, if there is something going on, then there is more than likely an oil that would provide some beneficial, supportive care to your dog or your family. And I'll certainly help you take a look at that, but I don't want you to wait until then. We all know that we're all getting older, right? That we have dogs that are becoming senior citizens or family members that are becoming senior citizens. And those kinds of things may require support for something like joint care. And you can start those things today. You can do things today that will provide immunity support, right? And that will give us the best chance at diet and exercise and supportive care that may help us in the long run with our wellness plans. So when I think about Huey and Howie and the fact that they're senior citizens, I wish I had known then, years ago, what I now know and had started them sooner on things that might provide them benefit. I wish the same for me. I've spent a lot of years not eating as well as I should have. And so now I'm trying to do things that provide support for that. Yesterday, we did a pack walk, and there was a person there with her dog who, when the dog went to sit down, actually squatted, just sort of hovered and didn't go all the way down. And so I asked some questions about that, and basically this dog had a pretty severe injury, and he can't sit. So we won't make him, right? I mean, that won't be part of the training requirement for him to do a bunch of sit stays or puppy push-ups. But we asked about supplements to see if they're doing anything to provide supportive care for the dog now. And she said no, because the dog was so young she didn't want to do anything that would build up a tolerance, so that when the dog was older, that the supplements wouldn't work. And there happened to be a physician in the class yesterday, and he said that's not how it works, that you absolutely can provide support now that will do things to keep them, as I'm trying to stay compliant. These are hard terms for me to not use. But to do things that will provide benefit that may extend the time it takes before the signs start to show. And so don't feel like with something along those lines for joint supplements that you have to wait until there's a sign the dog needs it. Get preventative and proactive about those things now, and start working on trying to address as much as you can with joint support, immunity support, and so on. Even as we think about dogs that are very athletic, they may need, just like we do after working in the yard or having trained, yoga or exercise or started some new regimen, the muscles tell us, dude, that was tough, right? The same things will happen to our dogs if we take them out for those first few walks of spring, and we haven't walked at all in the last several winter months, especially now that your dog is a year older than he was last time you started the spring regimen. He may need some muscular support. You may need some muscular support as you start working on that beach body. And what I find is that many people didn't realize that Young Living has a whole line of products that take these oils and their intended purposes and put them into supplements that make it easy for us to know what to take and what to use and how much and so on. So I encourage you to take a look at those things. Look at, where is your dog in their life? Are they middle-aged, moving towards geriatric? Do they have some genetic predisposition to something that they may need supportive care for? These things will help you provide added benefit to the wellness of your dog and your family. So I encourage you not to wait on taking those actions. I'll also share with you a little bit about just reminding you how much quality matters. And I was one of those people that when I first was introduced to this idea of essential oils, I didn't buy anything, right? I said, I kind of don't believe that. And once I did use them, I found benefit for the dog that I was training and some emotional issues that she was having. And after I got the dog trained and made the progress that I thought we needed to make, I didn't use them anymore. Even after I attended a Young Living class, I didn't buy anything. Still pretty skeptical about this whole thing. And so I walked out not purchasing anything. When I did decide to try something, I went to the local retailer and wasn't really thrilled with the results. So when you try a product and you find that they don't work, then you're even more skeptical to try a different product. I sit before you as a convert and a believer now, which is part of how the name came about. But to say that quality does matter and that you will find tremendous results and benefit in the supportive care if you work through the process of using these oils and trying them in certain ways. I bring this up because I want to say that they work differently for different people. They have different benefits, and what my experience with one particular oil may not be the same experience you have with an oil. And so if we think about lavender, it's an oil that everybody is familiar with. Oh yeah, I use lavender. I have lavender. And then I've heard a boatload of people say they don't like how it smells and that it didn't work. And so you have to really dig in and think about, did they go pick up a bottle of lavender that's $4.98 and has an alcohol base to it, meaning even though it might be labeled pure, it's not, because they've used a maximizer or an expander to get a bigger bottle out of a smaller amount of the oil itself. And I can't see why that would work the way we intend it to, right? I can't see why that would provide us the supportive benefits that we keep talking about. And even then, we know that some people are just like, that's not the oil for me. So there are many opportunities to try a different one that may have some of the same intended purposes, whether it's, an emotional oil, we're just talking about a good night's rest, or relaxing, calming down, getting settled. If lavender's not the oil for you, then maybe Roman chamomile is, right? Maybe the blend Peace and Calming from Young Living may be. And so I tell you this, but again, because there are hundreds of oils to choose from. I don't want you to get overwhelmed and go, oh my God, I have no idea which to use. But I also don't want you to go, that one didn't work, therefore none of them work. It's not how it goes. So with that in mind, I will mention to you that if you have questions, if you're trying to explore this and trying to figure this out, feel free to ask questions. And basically my feedback to you is, if you are thinking about using Young Living oils, and that's the only one I'm going to advise you on, then I'm happy to set up a consultation at no cost to you to discuss not only the systems that you're trying to support and give you the references of things that will help you make the decisions into which oils you would want to look at, but I'll help you figure out, do you want to be just a retail customer, or do you want to go in and be a member and receive the 24% discount? Do you want to be somebody that refers people to me and you will get a financial credit for doing that? Or at some point down the road, do you care to be part of the business? There are many ways in which you can do this. And my point here is that I'm happy to have those initial consultations with you. And then certainly if you become a member, part of the team, you join with me or somebody that is part of my team, part of my line, they call it, then all of our consultations are free, right? We're happy to discuss anything, anytime. And, make sure you're getting the resources and the references and the information that you need to make smart decisions about your choices in the oils that you're using. So I just share that there are opportunities and for you to get information when you need it. So I'm going to mention tonight 2 oils that I wanted to share a little update on. The first one is Helichrysum. See if you can read that. Helichrysum. It's actually an oil that I got in my oh no, I'm sorry, I showed you frankincense. Here's my bottle. Showed you the wrong one. I used frankincense on little Hallie back there. Helichrysum. Turn it this way. There we go. It's an oil that I actually got in my Essential Rewards kit for free a couple months ago. And so I didn't know a lot about that particular oil. I told you guys there's a lot of oils, so I've been doing a little research and find that it's one that's super beneficial. It's a little more expensive than some of the others that might be considered staples in your collection, but one that has a lot of benefits. Especially, and so if we think about benefits for our dogs, we know that what benefits us benefits them in most cases, and vice versa. So the purpose of an oil is typically the same for all of us. It's an oil that can be used if your dog has a cut or has um, a scrape or something that may be bleeding. Certainly, we don't want to talk about oh, it's not going to solve everything, right? If you need to get sutures for your dog, go to the vet. That's part of the deal. But on your way, put some helichrysum on that injury and keep rolling. It is super beneficial to the care of those types of injuries. It is also beneficial to use if your dog has recently had some sort of surgical procedure, spay, neuter, um, something that has an incision and has been sutured back up. This will help with that. If you've cut a toenail, right, that will be beneficial to those kinds of things. We talked the other day about an oil that's beneficial, almost like styptic powder. Pop quiz to see if anybody remembers what that is. But you start to see that these oils all have some benefits. And when we tell you that if we think about the systems in the body, there is an oil that will address just about everything in a supportive way. So with the incisions that we're talking about, you can apply this topically directly to those sites and provide support to the healing process of those incisions. It's also one that is said to be support for metabolism, to be a balance of metabolism for your dogs and so for us. So when I think about the sleek products, and there's an oil there's a blend that's in there that's to be beneficial for metabolism boost, that's one that's in it. So helpful there, very helpful stuff. The other that I'll mention that comes in your starter kit is Digize. It is all about digestive support, digestive care. So if you've got a dog that is maybe transitioning foods, maybe has not had great nutritional support prior to coming to you, things of that nature, this is one you can start adding to be digestive care for them until things sort of get back to balance. It's also one that you can give to your dog and or apply topically if they have trouble riding in the car and keeping things settled. So it's not that emotional side of things, it's about what's happening in the gut and keeping things balanced there and maybe keeping things down when riding in the car. So it's also helpful for dogs that might be a little bit gassy. This is the place that I would say to you, if you have a dog with a recurring gas problem, you probably need to look at their nutrition source, their food source, and maybe make some changes to that. We know our dogs typically eat the same thing every meal, every day. For us, we often eat things that where one particular food might trigger that feeling for us. But for them, if it's sort of recurring, then maybe a change in the food source is appropriate. And you add Digize to part of the transition to help them get back on the path with that. So, look at helichrysum, look at Digize, which is part of the starter kit. And again, if there are any questions that I can answer for you guys at any time, we can't use disease names or specific ailments, that kind of thing, but we can talk about the systems of the body that are supported. And basically, we know that essential oils have been said to provide support to every system in the body. Again, muscular, skeletal type support, joint support, respiratory support, cardiovascular support, brain health, and so on. So wherever you are in the cycle of lifespan with your dog, what is it that they need support for? Have you had issues with, um, their kidneys, for example? There are oils and supportive care that may be beneficial for those systems. Hormonal support for women. There are supportive things for couples that might help in the romance department, right? So I tell you this because I was surprised when I really started getting into learning more about the essential oils and deciding to go down this path of being an educator at just how many things there were. So not only are they helpful for our dogs, there's cats and birds and horses and other animals, but all of us as humans, from children to the geriatrics and everything in between. So if I can help you in any way, please just let me know. You guys have a, oh, I'm going to pause 1 second and see if there's anything on the questions. I'm using my computer now, and it doesn't show me the comments. I will also share with you, I don't see any questions right now, so if you have them, feel free to ask and I'll respond later. But the page is growing and I'm excited about that. I hope you will like, love, smile, whatever the icons are that mean you're enjoying the page. Do that. Share the page with people, even if you think they are not interested. They may be, and they may be later, right? I know, just like I had the whole issue of not buying into this early on, that other people are skeptical and it may take them a while of seeing other people provide feedback about the benefits. So just share, with people and see if we can help get the word out and grow the page. Right now we're at about 109 people, and I definitely want to see that grow some more. If I can reach 200 people, and maybe before, I'll think about before, but I definitely will start doing some oils giveaways based on people attending the Facebook Lives, and start to try and provide some incentives in addition to the education of the oils and what they do to support all of us. So you guys have a great night, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.